all ages.
Woo.
Welcome to the DTNS video stream. I'm Tom Merritt, here to welcome you to a wonderland of technology news.
That looks great, Tom. Thanks.
Now to Led Peralta, who will illustrate today's episode. What if I did the entire show?
Oh, that'd be great.
You put me to sleep, man. Can't do that.
Don't do that.
And boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Whoop goes the dynamite.
Yes, indeed. It is a Hat Friday, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Shannon Morse, you are sporting a Christmas in July hat.
I am a Christmas cat, thank you very much.
In July. Led Peralta is cosplaying as a 1990s Nintendo hitline operator.
Yo.
And Roger Chang is exercising his right to wear headphones as a hat.
That's all right. That's all right. It's his right.
Yeah. I've got the old Illinois.
Are you guys going to guilt me into this?
No, we're not. That was, God, doesn't take
just
much
because
guilt,
3
does
or
it?
4 of us are wearing hats.
I'm Asian. That's all I. That's all I get when I was.
I wear my ethnicity as a hat.
There it is, the NSA hat. Nice.
NSA. Where'd you get that? From the NSA?
Yeah,
Stole
they
it.
stopped by. I did an interview with them.
I gotta get a bunch of hats like Chuck.
He obviously
Barris.
works for the
Well,
NSA. It's the only way you could get that
I
hat.
would love to wear an NSA hat to DEF CON.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
They sell these in the lobby when you get to the building.
Yeah, there usually are a few.
I'm going to start cheering that at Olympics. NSA, NSA. Instead of USA. Oh my goodness. So we started the video a little earlier to try to give the live viewers a chance to get here in time for the show to start. So if you're watching on demand and you're like, well, why aren't you starting the show? That would be why.
Well, I guess I should tweet it.
Oh yeah. Did I not tweet it today? I think I forgot to schedule my tweet.
Why aren't you schedule? Do you use Buffer?
I use TweetDeck.
Oh, I use TweetDeck for just normal searching and stuff.
TweetDeck is still
Keeping
the
an eye
best
on
for
hashtag.
scheduling. I love it. I know that you use TweetDeck because I think to myself, I see something that you tweet. I'm like, there's no way Tom is even up right now. Like,
I've seen through you, mister.
I'm like, it's like 5 in the morning, man. He's not sitting in his little chair. Maybe you are. Maybe you are.
You should actually reply to those and be like, is that really you?
I know your secret. I know your secret, Tom Merritt.
It's up, down, ABA.
But respond to this if you're actually awake. If this isn't a robot.
Hello. This
call is being answered.
It should be a form note that says, "Hello," fill in the name. I am not a robot. I'm an autoresponder. There's a difference.
Hello,
Ooh,
Roger.
Swamp Rat even posted the link on G Plus and Facebook. Thank you, Swamp Rat. Zoe Brings Bacon has tweeted it via a like.
Nice.
BioCow is lamenting that there's no snubs in chat.
I'm coming. Hold on.
She's on her way.
Gosh.
Stop nagging. Swamp Rat tweeted it as well. Didn't cheat it.
He cheated it. We don't encourage cheats here at the Nintendo Power Hotline. Game Genies, we don't even know what those are.
Man, those things sold like
Are there
gangbusters.
any RP conferences where you're not allowed to break character? Like, strictly like, listen, man, this entire conference, you're cosplaying, you're in character.
I'm sure there are. You know,
It depends.
those people that do like the like back in historical things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean the
Right.
SCA stuff?
Yeah,
Society for Creative Anachronism, or Civil. I guess Civil War reenactments might count.
Yeah.
Or what's the Colonial Williamsburg? Or don't they?
Right.
not
Yeah,
Colonial
right,
Williamsburg?
exactly.
Cosplayers will break character especially if you ask them. It's like, hey, do you want to go to this party tonight? And they'll like, oh.
Colonial Williamsburg makes me want like an 80s small town neighborhood.
With an 80s small town neighborhood.
Yeah, just a, like a museum, living museum of life in the 1980s.
You should go dressed as like some kid from the 1980s. What is this place? I just got transported here. I'm sure no one's ever thought.
What
of
are
doing
these
that
small
before.
black rectangles everyone's holding? Okay, Ms. Morse, are you ready?
Hi.
Hey!
Hi.
I almost called you Lester for some ridiculous
You can call me
reason.
Lester. I'm fine with that. That was my
Peralta.
Nintendo Power name actually.
That's why.
That's why. Yeah, you remember it. You remember.
Len Peralta, are you ready?
I am, and Les is ready too.
I know Roger's not ready because I haven't given him control yet.
Nope. And I'm
But
hiding.
I've given you control now, Mr. Man.
Control.
Okay. Here we go.
Daily Tech News Show is powered by its audience, not outside organizations. To find out how you can help power the show, visit dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, July 21st, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt. Shannon Morse alongside this morning, helping you on your drive home or into work or maybe out for a beer. I don't know. Wherever they're going, Shannon, we're here for them.
I don't care where you're going or where you're coming from. I'm happy to bring you some tech news today.
Woohoo! That's a different show. Tech News Today. Megan Maroney, Jason Howe, they do a fine job. I don't want to steal their name, though. No, we are definitely happy to bring you some tech news on this
today.
day.
Yeah.
And Len Peralta is here to illustrate as well. Len, we did not throw an abstract concept at you today.
Yeah, I love that you did that. Hopefully today's drawing you will love. That's the best I can hope for.
That's right, because today we're talking warehouse logistics.
Yes. It's amazing.
I mean, we kind of are. We're also talking about
it's-
robots, though.
Yeah,
and that's-
robots are where it's at.
And this topic today will be near and dear to Shannon's heart because Shannon, among your many duties, you are a part of the Hack 5 warehouse team.
I am. I've gone kind of hands off in the past few years or so because I've been focusing on the shows, but I'm part of the first generation of the hack shop. So I know all about how warehouse logistics work for a small business, and I think I can give a few pointers as far as robotics.
Yeah. Darren says that you call the human operators of your warehouse robots already. So
We do.
you're partway there.
The hack shop robots.
All right, but let's start with a few tech things you should know. Andy Rubin sent me an email today, Shannon.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you get me an autograph?
I'll ask. I'll reply. It may say no reply in the email address, though. Now that I'm thinking. Anyway, he sent an email out to everyone saying that the new Essential phone is going through certification and testing with multiple U.S. and international carriers. So it might be on more than one U.S. carrier. There is an unlocked device. And it will be in my hands right here in a few weeks. He definitely said this to other people, though.
Wow, Tom, I'm jealous.
You should be.
You know some cool people in the industry, man.
Andy, call me. We'd like to have you on the show.
I'm happy to see this, especially since recently they lost one of their product managers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good to see that they're continuing on to get the phone released. We've been hearing a ton about the Essential phone for a while now, and it looks like a good phone, but of course, looks can be deceiving.
They missed their own 30-day deadline. So
Yep.
hopefully a couple weeks means a couple weeks.
Right. We'll see. On the course of phones, Samsung has sent out invites for a press event at 11 a.m. Eastern, August 23rd in New York City. The art on the invite indicates a phone and stylus with the words, "Do bigger things." Samsung is likely to announce a new Note phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
99% likely.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
And a lot of people were wondering a year ago whether there would ever be another Note phone. So here
Yeah,
we
that's
are.
true. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I like the Note phones. I think they do a really good job with those.
Especially the ones that don't have battery issues.
Yeah,
I
as long
love
as they're
those.
not exploding on
They're
you.
really good. Yeah.
But I had a Note 4 back in the day, several years ago, and it was a great phone. It was one of my very first Android ones, so I loved it.
I'll get an Essential, you get a Note, and we'll compare notes to Essentials.
Got it.
Google told Ars Technica that it does have plans for its news feed, the one that's on iOS and Android apps, to be rolled out on the mobile website but it has no plans to do it for the desktop. So a lot of us were speculating. Guardian, I think, was the one that even went so far as to say they had a source saying it was going to happen, that they might change the classic white page with the search box. They say, no, we have no plans to do that.
That's good. I like it clean.
Yeah, same here.
I think it's prettier. Yesterday, Elon Musk said he had, quote, verbal government approval for an underground Hyperloop between DC and New York. Today, a Boring Company statement said it has had, quote, a number of promising conversations with local, state, and federal government officials, and it expects to get formal approvals to break ground later this year.
It expects to get formal approvals later this year. I don't know that it will actually break ground later this year, but we'll see.
We need to see some contractual agreements and them to actually start breaking ground. I'm excited, though. Yeah. That'll be cool.
It was a Boring Company statement. Way more boring than Elon's tweets. Here are some more top stories. Lyft says it believes that by 2021, the majority of its rides will be in autonomous vehicles. So Lyft's getting into the game themselves. They've been partnering up until now, but they are opening the Level 5 Center. It's an engineering facility in Palo Alto, California. Level 5, alluding to the top level of autonomy where the car can drive itself without human intervention. They're going to develop software and hardware that can make a car autonomous, but work with automotive partners to build the cars. So Lyft isn't getting into the game of building the cars themselves, but they are creating a research center. Lyft intends to continue its partnerships with GM and Waymo and Neutrality and Jaguar. So they're trying to take the approach. I have commended them myself for taking the approach up till now of not trying to be the autonomous car company, just partnering up with the people like Waymo and Neutrality who know how to do this. But it looks like they see some value in R&Ding some of the parts themselves.
Yeah, we've been seeing similar things like this, similar agreements happen with Intel, working with, I believe, BMW, don't quote me on that, for example, but they've also been doing something where they're working on the R&D and the development for software, but they're working with car manufacturers. They're not actually building anything themselves, which is smart because Intel's not a car manufacturer. So yeah. I feel like they should focus on what they're really good at and let the car manufacturers do what they're good at.
I can't imagine Lyft would do this if it was going to ruin their relationships with Neutrality and Waymo. Right. So my guess is Lyft is looking at this as a way to say, hey, we as a ride-hailing company have some particular insights into how some of this works. And they said in their announcement press conference, they're not going to do LiDAR. They're not going to go remake things that are working well. But my guess is they have some ideas of like, hey, we've got some data that shows some things are kind of, stuff that we're experts at that we could make and then contribute it back to other partners. And if that's what they end up doing, I think that's really smart.
Well, good on you, Lyft. A NeoGAF user noticed Nintendo filed 4 graphical trademarks with the European Union Intellectual Property Office on July 18th, one of which seems to show a Nintendo 64 controller. 2 of the other filings showed logos consistent with the icons used on the boxes for the NES and SNES Classic editions. The 4th filing was for a Switch logo. Companies often file preemptive trademarks with no plans to ship a product.
Yeah, so definitely means we're getting a classic Switch.
Yeah, that
a throwback nostalgia Switch. No,
I assume they're just doing that to keep their trademarks, the same across the board, especially in the European Union area. But for the SNES, NES, and then Nintendo 64 logos, they're talking about the logo on the front of the console right here, or on the front of the box.
On the top of the box, yeah.
For the classic edition. So for the video people, I can expect that we'll probably see a Nintendo 64 one, but we'll have to see. I would assume it depends on how well the SNES Classic goes.
Yeah, Nintendo 64 would be a little harder to manufacture at the simplicity that they did with the NES and SNES. And my guess is they're probably going to put the Switch logo on the Switch box, or maybe on Switch accessories or something like that.
Yeah.
So if this is the way I would interpret this, if this is Nintendo saying we need to have unified logos that we put on all these products, this means there's something that's going to need a Nintendo 64 logo.
Right.
And the most likely thing would be some kind of throwback nostalgia box. They may not come out with it right away. They just, preemptive trademark filing, right? But it means they're thinking about it.
That's the case, man. The N64 was one of my favorites.
Yeah. This week, several Verizon wireless customers noticed that Netflix speed test tool seemed to show a cap of 10 megabits per second, but if you used Ookla's speed test, it did not show that. And a lot of people jumped to the conclusion that Verizon was throttling just Netflix. Well, Ars Technica, John Brodkin does great work over there, called Verizon, got a statement. Verizon says that it is in fact testing a new video optimization system. And while Verizon says this shouldn't affect the quality of the video, it is applying it to all video services. Some YouTube users claimed they did see some degraded video, which went away when they switched to a VPN, which would get them away from Verizon's compression technology. Now, this is a horse of a different color. If they're not just optimizing or throttling, depending on how you look at it, Netflix, if they're taking all video, that's similar to what T-Mobile already does. The existing 2015 Open Internet Guidelines consider such behavior network management for mobile carriers, as long as all the sources are treated the same. And in fact, the compression testing does seem to apply to Verizon's own Go90 video service. So as much as a lot of people want to catch Verizon red-handed, it seems like this really is not violating existing open internet guidelines.
Right. Yeah. When you first read the headline for it, it's like, oh no, drama. This is huge. They're throttling everybody on Netflix. But yeah, it sounds very similar to what T-Mobile does with their video offerings. So I would say it's to be expected with a lot of mobile carriers that they would do this kind of thing. But personally, I wouldn't be happy about it. So I understand why a lot of their users aren't either.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for the Netflix tool, they might not have noticed, to be honest.
Exactly.
But thank goodness those tools are out there, because even though this isn't necessarily nefarious or rule breaking, that's the kind of, you want to have those tools that so you can keep an eye and find out what's going on. Now, if for those of you grumpy saying, but I wanted a gotcha moment, the one thing you could point to, and Brodkin mentions this in the Ars Technica article, is Verizon did say when they switched to unlimited that they wouldn't be compressing anything. They would be delivering everything in exactly the same resolution as it was delivered. And this test would imply that maybe they're reconsidering that.
Oh, okay. So Microsoft CFO Amy Hood said for the first time, Microsoft got more revenue from Office 365 subscriptions than from traditional Office licensing. Revenue in cloud services overall was up 15%, driven by a 97% rise in revenue from Azure. Microsoft reported revenue of $23.3 billion with a B, up 13% year over year. Gaming revenue was up 3%. Surface revenue dropped 2%, but the new Surface Laptop and Surface Pro arrived June 15th, giving the models little time to affect revenue.
So it's not that bad of a drop when you consider the product cycle. It's also, I'm not expecting Surface to have like ridiculous gains in the next quarter. True. But boy, that cloud services arena is generating some dollars for a lot of people. Microsoft, certainly not the least of which.
I guess it's the time of clouds, which isn't surprising because a lot of people are starting to use multiple devices, either a PC and a laptop and a smartphone, or maybe just a PC and a smartphone. But it is way easier when you're working with cloud as opposed to just a PC software, because then you can access your files in multiple different places. And seeing how busy people are these days, it's no surprise people are paying for cloud services.
And that applies to large companies too. Enterprise situations are switching to cloud in droves because they find cost savings, liability savings, all kinds of things that just make their lives easier and allow them to be more efficient because they don't have to roll everything themselves in-house. Now, that calculus doesn't always play out. Sometimes it makes sense to roll it in-house. But Azure is certainly benefiting, as is Amazon Web Services and Google as well, from a big trend here. So, I mean, I want to give Satya Nadella credit. He's not the only one. Steve Ballmer started this, but Microsoft positioned itself well for the cloud. And when Nadella took over, he really moved them towards that and said, this is where the money's going to come from.
Right.
And trying to squeeze, money out of Windows forever is not going to keep the company profitable. And he was right.
The gaming revenue being up only 3%, that's a very low margin of increase, but I think that's to be expected too, especially since their new console hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, and I think honestly, at this point, with Sony being so strong with the PlayStation, I was a little surprised not to see a drop in gaming revenue there. So I would even call that a positive for Microsoft, all things considered. Customers flying Delta out of Reagan National Airport in Arlington, Virginia, can now use their fingerprint as a boarding pass. You have to be enrolled in Clear, which is a service that lets you jump the security line. But Clear takes your fingerprints, and that's how they make sure they know you're a Clear subscriber when you try to jump the line. You also have to be enrolled in Delta's Sky Miles program, but anybody can do that. That's cheap. That's nothing. Clear costs you like $179 a year. If you are a member of both, the program will let you not only use your fingerprint as a boarding pass, but also enter the Delta Sky Club Lounge without having to show your ticket or ID. And a final phase to be added later this summer will let customers use fingerprints to check bags.
Oh, that's cool. I've used Clear because I was able to get one of their coupons for like 3 months for free. And then 179, I was like, I ain't going to pay for that. So I just used it for the 3 months just to try it out.
When was that?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay,
but
so
I'm still on their mailing service, so I still get emails from them.
Do you? I am a Clear subscriber still, and I used it this year because it hasn't been in all airports. But whenever I do see it, and it makes sense. Sometimes you go up there and you're like, "There's 2 people in line for TSA pre. Right. I'm not getting in the Clear line." But the thing that always generally happens is people have a hard time getting their fingerprint to read.
I haven't had that issue, but I've been going through San Francisco airport mostly, and that's pretty much the only one. I would
go through San Francisco and I'd have problems. I have fewer problems now than I used to, but the last time I went through San Francisco, the guy ahead of me in the Clear line was having problems getting his fingerprint to read. I think I've done it enough now that I understand, okay, don't push too hard and all of that. But I'm wondering if that's going to slow things down in this Delta system.
You know, I would expect that it would, because I'm assuming that Delta is going to be using the same kind of Clear fingerprint readers that Clear is using.
No, Clear is providing the technology for it. Exactly.
Got it. Yep. So yeah, they're probably going to end up with those same issues, and then they'll have to deal with, you know, teaching people and training people on this new technology. And there's also a slight fear factor. Who is holding the keys to your fingerprints? Is it Clear or is it Delta, or is it both?
No, and honestly, if I would hope it's Clear.
Me too.
I mean, and I have concerns about Clear being clear about how they protect your fingerprints as well. Right. But yeah, I would hope it's Clear, and it would make sense for it to be Clear because you have to be a Clear subscriber for this to work. But these things might be running through a Delta system since they're being used as a boarding pass. And what does that mean for your fingerprint as it wends its way through the network?
Right. I don't know.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, subscribe to Daily Tech Headlines. You can get it as a podcast at dailytechheadlines.com. If you're like, I actually want it on my Amazon Echo, you can give it as a flash briefing on the Amazon Echo. Or if you're like, no, I want it segment by segment in an app, download Anchor, Anchor, and get it in the Anchor app. It's all of those things, Daily Tech Headlines. And that's a look at our top stories. Let's talk robots. Tech in Asia's Sumit Chakraborty has a piece up about a company called GreyOrange. It's an Indian company that makes warehouse robots, co-founded by Samay Kohli and Akash Gupta. They saw a niche when Amazon bought Kiva Systems in 2012 and made Kiva Systems work only for Amazon. So they're like, hey, there might be some other folks out here who need some robots. And I think one of the most intriguing things about this, Shannon, is they had to develop the software and hardware from scratch themselves because they were in India and it was difficult to get some of the sensors imported from places. So they had to create supply chains and all of that. But because they did that, they hit on a system where they have a central database and a central control system, and the robots are all just arms of the system. And they find that to be not only more efficient, but more scalable. So if you're a smaller business, you can consider actually purchasing this and then having it grow with you, rather than with something like Kiva, where you have to be a big company like Amazon to make the money pay out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they're thinking long-term for lots of different businesses, as opposed to Amazon, who is strictly huge warehouses that are like 50 football fields wide, as an example of one of their warehouses. So for GreyOrange, they could potentially streamline this across the world. And they've already started to in places like Japan and India, for example. So I was reading this article actually, and I was thinking, wow, I wonder if this would work out really well for something like Hack5, who has a warehouse, and we sell products to penetration and infosec security professionals. Something like this would streamline the warehouse so much more efficiently and allow us to do, different things as opposed to packing packages every day.
Yeah, because this covers sorting, storage, and retrieval. The
Yep.
retrieval robots are called butlers, and that's where the machine learning comes in, where, again, centrally a distributed network. So a central database is doing all the processing, but tells the butlers where to go. And that sort of thing is really advancing fast right now. There's a lot of progress being made in machine learning. One could assume that those are the kinds of things that are only going to get better over time with software updates.
I would assume so, and hopefully those software updates are secure for these robots.
Yeah, no, we were wondering, like, it sounds like they use Wi-Fi to control the robots, and that could present some interesting possibilities.
It could present some major complications for those warehouses if somebody was able to, for example, man in the middle or intercept that wireless and, I don't know, make the robots do something they're not supposed to do.
Yeah. It would be ironic if a robot that was packing pineapples in the Hack5 warehouse was itself hijacked by a pineapple.
Was intercepted by a pineapple. That's all we need.
Yeah.
I think the butler idea is very cool, and I can see it being very promising, especially for smaller businesses who are looking for ways to streamline all of this, all the deals that they have to deal with in warehouses. But at the same time, they need to grow their business. So they need to find ways to, enable the robotic work to be taken care of by robots, but at the same time, be able to train new people to do like customer service or, bring in inventory or take care of returns, like all those little things. I feel like robots aren't going to be able to do, but they can definitely do that robotic stuff.
Yeah, they can free humans up to do what humans are better at,
right?
Which is intuitive stuff and quickly assessing situations that aren't necessarily logical. These systems from GreyOrange can be deployed in 3 to 6 months. They can start at a small scale, like I mentioned. And like you said, they're all over the world. They have Flipkart as a client. Flipkart is huge in India. That is their big main client. And getting them early is one of the things that helped this company. They also have Ninja Van in Singapore, Logi in Brazil, Home Logistics in Osaka. And the fascinating part of this article was the beginning where they talked about one of the oldest bazaars in Bangalore. It dates back to the 16th century. It's one of those windy streets bazaars, and it's called Chickpet. One of the companies in the Chickpet bazaar uses the GreyOrange robots. So you see a truck winding through these windy streets. It backs up to a loading dock, and then there's robots coming in and unloading it and sorting it and taking it away.
That's so cool. Now, I do wonder how they deal with whenever they receive a new product, something brand new that they've never sold before. I would assume that would have to involve some kind of human interaction.
Yeah, somebody's got to enter it in the database, I would assume.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody would put it into the database, give it a new barcode, et cetera, so that it can accept it and then put it in a new place in the warehouse.
Yeah. But as you say, I mean, your experience has been when you get some kinds of automation, it doesn't mean you get rid of people. It just makes those people more valuable because they can do more valuable things.
Yeah, well, I know that there's a lot of debate on that subject. And I also know that the amount of incline for jobs in warehouses has kind of plateaued in the past few years. It hasn't been inclining as much as it used to. And a lot of that is because of automation. However, I would see it differently. I would consider taking the people who have been working in the warehouse and training them for jobs that are more creative, that involve more customer service, that involve more, processing and things that the robots wouldn't be able to do, because robots don't come with creative concepts. Robots can't come to your manager and say, hey, I have an idea for a new branch that we could do at our company. This could potentially bring in more profit. These are things that I'm sure a lot of workers don't necessarily get the chance to talk about, and things that they're really passionate about, but they're working these jobs in warehouses. I would love to see them have the ability to be able to increase their jobs and their salaries potentially.
Yeah. And that's not dead simple to happen. You have to work at it to make it happen, like you're saying. And that's why whenever we bring up this topic of automation, we say you need a plan to help the people who need to transition from jobs make that transition. But the real question here, Shannon, are you going to order? Are you going to make them order these at Hack 5? Are you going to get robots in Hack 5? I'm
going to make Darren order a GreyOrange robot at Hack 5. It would be great. I mean, we have a Hack Shop warehouse robot. One of my lady friends, she loves editing. But she works in the warehouse. I would love to give her the transitional ability to be able to edit more and be able to learn the creative aspects of building out our podcasting company with Hack 5, as opposed to, working in the warehouse constantly.
Yeah.
I would love to see her do more of what she's passionate about. So giving people that ability is just something that I'm passionate about. I would love to see that.
Well, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. You can also submit stories at facebook.com/dailytechnewsshow. The subreddit has a bunch of cool labels. Scotty Rowland's been curating that. They link out to things in the sidebar, things like the Patreon and other related subreddits. Scotty Rowland just added a section called Other Cool Stuff that includes the link to the documentary about Patrick Beja that I mentioned yesterday. So it'll be easy to find even once it drops off of the subreddit. So go hang out at the subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them. That helps us pick our show topics. But there's all kinds of other cool stuff you can find there as well. Let's get to the messages of the day. What's our first one, Shannon?
All right, this one comes from John. He says, "Hi, Tom and crew. Just wanted to chime in on a recent experience with the ecobee. When the ecobee 4 launched and the integration of Alexa was seemingly the only improvement, I opted to save some hassle and scored a good deal on the ecobee 3 instead. In our house, the thermostat is in the main room, which is also where our Echo lives. No sense spending more for a feature that would need to be turned off. Thanks for everything you do, John, co-EP in Billings, Montana."
Thank you, John. No, it's a great point that I think some people forget about is when a new model comes out, a lot of the reaction is like, oh, great, a new model. I have to upgrade. I can't afford it.
Yep.
John took the argument of like, hey, great, new model means the old model's cheaper now.
Yeah.
And I don't need that feature that's in the new model. That's a great approach.
We'll probably see the same thing with, I know the Philips Hue, their second generation, I believe it was, worked with the Amazon Echo while the first generation did not, or something similar to that.
Yeah.
So you do run into some of those complications with older generations, but usually they have it listed, especially nowadays, because it is a prime factor in getting those items to sell if they work with your smart home, central device. So just look for works with Amazon Echo on a website as you're purchasing something to see if that generation does work.
We actually got an old Nest camera that doesn't have all the new Nest camera features, but we don't pay for their service anyway, so we didn't care. Yeah. Gabor from Way Too Hot Budapest writes in, "Dear Tom, Roger, Shannon, and Len." He knew who was on. Gabor says, "I follow the show for some time and enjoy every moment of it. I'd like to raise a recent question or two about net neutrality. I live in Hungary, in Europe, where mobile bandwidth is fast and furious. 4G networking is estimated to be good as 42.61 megabits per second on average. I, as most of my fellow citizens can, choose from more than one ISP. So while listening to the regular updates of this whole net neutrality issue, I was pretty nothing you say you'll have, pretty much nothing you say will have an effect on me. I just live too far away. So I was shocked when I read a highlighted, bolded title on my favorite Hungarian news site today: absolute net neutrality should be forgotten. The article is an interview with the CEO of Vodafone. While reading it, I started to feel uncomfortable. Probably the winds of change will blow across Europe in a short while. Slow bandwidth connection could return as these global companies decide to milk the goats in other countries too? I wonder how concerned I should be. I understand how the one and only option of an ISP might affect citizens, but could it be bad to have multiple choices in the long run? If Ms. Kovac wants to look at my tiny company's website using Vodafone cable service, it might load for a longer time, despite the fact that I've paid for a fast lane fee for T-Mobile, because she's not on T-Mobile. So I might have to pay every single ISP to put my website on the fast lanes. If I understand this well, have a lovely weekend. Best regards, Gabor. Gabor is worried about something that is the opposite of what I have been worried about, right? Which is I'm worried about competition, because I feel like with competition, if you have robust competitions, one of the ISPs will use not having net neutrality as a competitive advantage, right? Or use having net neutrality, sorry, as a competitive advantage. Say, come to us, and that'll put pressure on the others not to mess with the traffic.
I see.
But what Gabor's saying is, what if it goes the other way, and you have one that respects net neutrality, but one who does, and 2 or 3 who doesn't, and you're a website owner, then you're going to want to pay for the net neutrality, and that might encourage the 4th one to not obey net neutrality anymore.
Oh man, I don't like that whole idea of having to, as a small business, having to pay several different ISPs for the ability to have a fast lane on the internet.
No, and that is. I still think that, at least here in the United States, we need to investigate how the internet should be regulated, and stop trying to fit old telecommunications and cable legislation that was written for not the internet. Let's stop trying to retrofit it. Let's come up with something. And granted, we all may disagree right now on what that something should be. I'm not saying we do, but let's at least come up with something that respects the way the internet works, which is different than the way telephony and cable works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thank you, Shannon Morse, for joining us. Of course, you can find lots of your good works at hack5.org. If you read my column on password managers this week, I recommended an episode of Tech Thing with Shannon and Patrick, where they talk about password managers. What else you got going on?
Well, thank you for recommending our episode. That's super sweet of you. Yeah, just this week, we got to review a new Dell XPS all-in-one machine, which was super cool to check out over on techthing.com. And I got to review this strange smart sleep mask, which I did not know was a thing, but it uses lighting, blue and red lights, red to put you to sleep and then blue to wake you up, to kind of rendition your body from wake mode to sleep mode and then naturally wake you up in the morning. It was interesting, and I'll let you watch the review to find out what I thought.
Okay, yeah, I'm curious. I want to hear what you thought. So go check that out, techthing, TEKTHING.com, and of course, hack5.org. Len Peralta, what have you been drawing over there?
Well, when I saw the video of both Kiva and GreyOrange, I thought, what a cute little robot. And it brought to mind another cute little robot, of course, BB-8, who is also gray and orange.
Oh my gosh, that's I didn't even think of that.
And so the only thing I could think of is that this is a GreyOrange love story. Right?
Aww.
Like BB-8 is fallen in love with little GreyOrange.
The GreyOrange bot who loves to shop.
Who loves to shop and actually has stuff like Yumbo and Happies in the little case there. How can you not fall in love with a robot that's giving you Yumbo and Happies? Oh, and a little tiny Shannon Morse doll up at the top.
It's a little stuffy.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And so yeah, and of course his BB-8's heart, a GreyOrange heart, has just melted and fallen in love with GreyOrange.
Silverblade in our chat room says 50 Shades of GreyOrange.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't think about that.
Direction.
But yeah, so yeah, it's hopefully, like I said at the top of the show, hopefully people will love this. And
I love this. This is so good. This is really good.
And, so it's at my store right now, lenperaltastore.com. It's right on the front page. You can also get this if you become one of my patrons, patreon.com/Len, and back me at the DTNS level. And you'll get this as a high quality print.
Go check it out, lenperaltastore.com. Also, thanks to everybody who backs this show directly, giving a little value back for the value they get from the show, including all of the people out there right now at patreon.com/DTNS. Our goal every month is to get one more patron than last month. And right now we're trending ahead of that. So thank you so much for supporting us. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. It's her birthday today, but it won't be Monday when she's back on the show. I'm talking about Veronica Belmont. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Happy birthday, Veronica.
Happy birthday, Veronica.
Happy birthday.
Woo!
Oh, yes. I have to actually log off because I have to go shopping.
Oh, you and GreyOrange?
Yes. We have to get. Yes, I'm going to go to the supermarket, and that little thing's going to pick up everything for me. So
That's
Oh,
great.
that'd be nice.
All right,
No,
man. Well, thanks again. That really like the art today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Not that I,
was,
don't always, but this is really good. I love it.
Well,
Generally,
I just hope it was cute.
Yeah, it's super cute.
Excellent. All right, guys. Have a nice weekend. Take care.
All right, thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye. What do we got for titles, Raj?
You hear me? We have 50 Shades of GreyOrange.
Of course.
GreyOrange. Give Delta the finger. Delta, give us the finger. At least they're not asking you to pull their finger. Self-driving pink mustaches.
That's good.
Autonomous mustache rides.
I don't know
Orange
if I
gray
would
is the new black. GreyOrange ain't no red green. Red green. Tom knows cool people. Tom is BFFs with all the cool people. Delta going clear. Get it?
Yep.
Auto Lyft. Comparing Samsung Notes. It's Hat Friday.
Orange gray is the new black.
I kind of like that one.
All right.
What do you like, Shannon?
Let's see.
Show.
I like orange gray is the new black. Or yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that one.
Yeah. All right. It's agreed. We are of an accord.
I'd say
A Honda
50
Accord.
GreyOrange, but I didn't like that book.
Well, the other problem with picking that is that ruins our Silverblade's joke, right? Because if you see it in the title, you know it's coming.
Awkward. Cool. That was easy.
Yeah. Very nice.
Hey, are
Easy
you guys going
peasy.
to watch the eclipse in August?
Yeah, I don't know where from though. We might just be here.
I just booked a flight to go up to Portland.
Oh yeah. No, I heard Portland. Portland's one of the good places in like Missouri.
Yeah, my family lives in Missouri. I would go there, but my mom's trying to sell the house, so she doesn't have a guest room anymore.
Oh, she sold the guest room already?
All the furniture is gone. I was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't go there.
Oh yes.
Well, as long as
It should be GreyOrange is the new black.
are those the locations that
Right.
have like the full total eclipse?
Yeah. Yeah, Portland, Missouri has the longest total eclipse of anywhere.
How long? Like,
It's like 2 minutes and something odd seconds.
oh wow.
Yeah. Portland is a little bit shorter than there, closer to like the 2 minute mark. And then the same with South Carolina or wherever the other site is. Hi, you bit me during the show. You're a brat.
She's talking to a cat if you're listening to the audio.
Yeah, she bit my elbow. My elbow was leaning off and she bit it.
Really?
Yeah, I think she wanted
Why
pet.
you? See, if one of my dogs did that,
Yeah.
animal care control would come take them away.
Oh. With cats, you just look at them and go, "What was that for? Gosh, go away." Little brat. You're a brat. Charleston, South Carolina.
So in LA, we'll see a partial, I think.
Yeah.
Like, what's a partial look like? Is it like
It's just a
couple
bite.
of teeth? It's half a bite.
Yeah, half a bite. BioCale said, have to go an hour south of Portland. Yes, that's correct. I'm flying to Portland because that's the closest airport. And then my
Sure.
friend got a Airbnb and a rental car.
Oh,
and we're
fun.
we're actually going to drive 2 hours inland so that we don't run the risk of the Cloudy Bay. problems.
Smart.
Yeah, so we're going to drive 2 hours inland and then find a spot for it. And I believe he's taking care of that part.
This is
I'm bringing the camera and I'm bringing some eclipse glasses. I got a
Nice.
filter for my camera. I just bought it on Amazon.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Hi, you're doing it up right.
dude, I'm stoked. I
Because
saw
Fraser Kane, who does the Universe Today podcast, he's doing a whole trip with his audience to
What?
St. Louis.
Cool.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
I know.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna film whatever the heck I get up to while I'm in Portland for the eclipse because I
Oh,
think
sure.
that'll make for a really good video. Especially because it so rarely happens. The last time I saw one, I have seen a full eclipse. I was living in Indiana, and it happened in the middle of a school day. So my class went outside throughout the day and we drew pictures of what we saw in the sky, and we had to wear the glasses.
The glasses. Yeah,
I barely remember it.
I
so
remember.
I was like,
I remember an eclipse when I was in elementary school where they made us go inside because they didn't have glasses.
what?
It was the 70s.
Whoa.
They're like, we don't want kids looking up at it and going blind. So
Yeah.
they did a thing with a projector where you could see. They put I can't remember what it was, like a pinhole thing outside.
Yeah.
And then we could look at that from inside, but we weren't allowed to be out on the asphalt.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. So stoked.
People are really excited about this one. I think it's because it's just in really, really cool areas, really accessible areas. And
It's the first eclipse that we've had in a long time that has encompassed so much of North America. I think that mixed with social networks and the ability
getting other people excited about
have
it.
like made this huge, and like people are sharing information constantly. So you're just like getting a barrage of information.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
It's crazy. Like I've never thought it was so big. And I think back to the 90s when I saw my total eclipse and I was just like, oh, I thought it happened more often. And I guess it's just because I've seen one before. And that's
right. And it happens often on Earth.
Yeah.
But, not necessarily where you can get to it and see it.
Yeah. Most of the time it's over water or it happens at a time frame that doesn't work out for most people or in an area where people don't live. So
we are a water planet after all.
Yes. Yes.
You would think that the intelligent life would have evolved in the sea on this planet. Like if I was writing a story and I was saying like this planet is made up of mostly something, I would put the intelligent life in the thing that was most common.
Yeah.
Maybe they left. I mean, maybe they got smart enough. It's like, hey, these land lubbers are going to start taking.
The seriously smart creatures left no trace.
That's what happened to Atlantis.
All their traces are at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah, right. And we haven't explored very much of the ocean, so we just haven't run across it yet.
Like one day we'll like, oh, look at that amazing coral at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Oh my God, it's an ancient civilization.
Undermined in the chat says dolphins.
Dolphins.
Yeah,
they left behind all of the so the dolphins that are on Earth are like apes and monkeys, and the actual sentient dolphins already left.
They wouldn't be dolphins; they would be cetaceans it would be kind of weird because,
well, no, cetacean encompasses more than dolphins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though, but it just wouldn't be dolphins. I don't think.
No, I'm saying they were dolphins. Because there's more than one species of dolphin. There was a sentient species of dolphin.
Just one.
Well, I'm just saying that we're all primates, but we're not all apes.
Next week is DEF CON. Hey, if anybody in the chat is in Las Vegas next week, we're doing a meetup. Go to Hack Across the Planet, HACK acrosstheplanet.com, and you'll see the meetup details.
Sweet.
Yay.
And then print them out on a piece of paper and take them with you.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you won't want to download them.
Pretty sure we're not going to reserve a bar either. We're just going to take it over. We're just going to have like 50 hackers show up and be like, hey, beer.
That's what we always did for Buzz Out Loud at CES, and it mostly worked fine.
Yeah, it's too hard to reserve space because I'm like, people on the internet are going to show up and I don't know how many, so...
Believe me, every time we did Revision Throughs at CES, that was the thing. Where are we going to go? We don't want to pay for anything, and we don't know how many people are going to show up.
Well, you go to the Double Down, that's why.
Yeah, Double Down.
Yeah, the problem is, like, you go there and you just want to meet people, and then they're playing a live, they're hosting a live band, and it's loud.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I mean, the bacon martini can only take you so far.
Hi, kitty.
Undermine says 50 hackers show up with beer. What could go wrong? Wow, you're loud right now, kitty cat.
She is loud.
I don't usually hear her at all.
She wants attention. I'm ignoring her.
It's like you've been just talking to no one for an hour. What's wrong with you?
Why do you keep talking to that thing in front of you?
There's no one there, Shannon. That's what she's saying to you in cat right now.
She probably is.
All right, we are published. Gray Orange is the new black. Done. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you on Monday.